Hey Panda Nation, you are listening to the Inverted Gear podcast with your hosts Nelson and Hillary. Join us every week as we take you behind the scenes into our brand, discuss upcoming projects, and conversate beyond the mat with the interesting people we've met along the way.
Hey Luis, how are you?
Hey Nelson, all good, man.
So Luis, for the people that don't know you, can you give yourself a quick intro about yourself?
Well, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Luis Collazo. I'm a Flavio bearing black belt from Puerto Rico, and I'm also a John Danaher student. I've been training under John Danaher for the past year, and I'm planning on continuing training under him now in Austin.
So yeah, Danaher Death Squad / New Wave Jiu-Jitsu.
Yes, correct.
Oh, very cool. So Luis, I've known you guys for a while now. I think the last time I went to Puerto Rico was almost 6 years ago.
Yes.
So I'm always been amazed every time I visit you guys how high the level of jiu-jitsu is in Puerto Rico. And a lot of people didn't know this before the whole Danaher situation happened, and all the eyes of the jiu-jitsu world was on the island. So can you talk about jiu-jitsu on the island real quick before
the
the latest developments?
Yeah. Well, basically, jiu-jitsu is in Puerto Rico is quite small, has been always small, but even though it's small, it's always we always train hard and studied a lot. A lot of the people travel, we bring people in, but mostly I think that Puerto Rican jiu-jitsu is defined by tough guys with heart who like jiu-jitsu. It's really for the tough guys, I gotta say. Not many people, you see a lot of white and blue belts from 10 years of training, they keep training, they just go there just to train. There's one, I think Murad, right? Murad used to describe Puerto Rican jiu-jitsu really good, and he said you can go to a gym in the States and you have 30 people on the mat. 25 of them are hobbyists. 5 of them are hardcore good, and 2 or 3 of them are world champions. But in Puerto Rico, you have 10 guys, and you have from white belt to black belt, and any of them is dangerous. No easy fight. They're gonna fight, till you have to make them tap or quit. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's fun when you visit, usually on vacation mode, and go to the beach in the morning, and we're walking around San Juan and eating, and then we go to training at night, and then all you savages will try to kill me. And I'm like,
Exactly. No mercy.
And like you said, there's no easy roles. Murad is actually how I met you guys. Murad was training at Alliance in New York, and he introduced me to Carlitos Sakik, who is probably one of the better competitors that come out of Puerto Rico in the last few years.
Sure.
The guy has played at every tournament with the gi.
He's a beast.
And yeah, super technical, super tough. I love it when he did that absolute. He competed at rooster weight, and he fought at absolute one time, and he beat his ultra heavyweight, and it was awesome. I think he was a brown belt at the time.
Yeah, he went by.
But yeah, jiu-jitsu in Puerto Rico is super interesting. One of the instructors in the island, Manny, and I just love talking to him. He's just he's the most interesting man alive. And he's super old school. He has stories about going to the Gracie Garage in Torrance in the 90s, and then coming back, and he's he's teaching whatever he was learning in private lessons in the island. So it's so cool how long jiu-jitsu has been there, even though it hasn't exploded in popularity, but still every time I go to the island, there's another gym open. So it's cool to see that it's growing, and I definitely over the last year. There was a lot more awareness of oh wow, there's actually jiu-jitsu schools in Puerto Rico.
Oh, yes.
So that's super cool. Now, what year did you start training?
What year I started training?
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, it was probably about 2004, 2005. I was like 19 to 20 years old. I think I was 19, so, or 20. I'm not sure. So I've been training for like 17 years. And basically I started with the, because in Puerto Rico at the time when I started, like jiu-jitsu was so small that all the current black belts were like purple belts, blue belts, brown belts, and they all trained together. So basically Manny, Chimi, Eduardo, Luisinho, Nino, those guys all trained together. So when I started with Luisinho because he just split it. He was starting his own school, and I had the option of training with a lot of the guys, with the rest of the savages, or I could go with Luisinho, who was a black belt, and I was going to be like his first white belt. So I took that route, and then I went to train with Manny. Then I trained with Eduardo. Basically, I've been all around.
Very cool. And then one of the favorite training stories you told me is, what year did you go to Brazil
Oh,
to
yeah,
train?
yeah. I went to Brazil in 2014. And
You were a purple belt or brown belt
I
at
was
the
a
time?
brown belt. I was a brown belt,
Okay.
and I decided to take a trip to Brazil. I was there in Rio de Janeiro for a month and a half, about 6 weeks. And man, it was probably one of the best experiences of my life to this day. It's like I had to do that pilgrimage to the starting point of jiu-jitsu and really understand what was all about the Brazilian jiu-jitsu lifestyle, which is quite peculiar and different. It's really nice. I encourage anybody to take a trip to Brazil and spend a week there and train in the schools.
So where did you train when you were in Brazil?
Well, I was training at Gordo's Academy, and Checkmat, and also Tererê School. Those were the three schools I was training at.
So you were a brave foreigner making its way into the favela.
Yes. I got to get that experience. Train with the favela guys, with Tererê. It's amazing.
So how was your first day there? That's
the first day in Brazil.
like the first day going to
To
Tererê
Tererê,
school in the
well,
favela.
it was really humbling experience. Like, you're expecting to see like this huge school and this legend of the sport, and when you get there, it's actually a really small space with a lot of kids. Like, I was expecting a room full of savages, and when I got there, they're just kids. Like, probably the oldest guy in the room was, other than his assistant, he was Tererê, his assistant, and the next guy was like 15 years old. And I'm like,
Oh, wow.
I got there with a bunch of the American guys, and we got there like everyone like 25 years and up, and we're all men. We're just waiting to go to war, and they're just all these kids. But then Tererê, like, when he saw us, because actually we had saw him before at one of the tournaments, and he was like telling us, you gotta go to my academia, you gotta visit, you gotta go. So when we got there, he was so pumped to see us. And actually in his academy, he has like a small area with a coffee machine and some cookies and stuff. And he goes, hey guys, come on in, you want some coffee, some cookies? And he's like telling us, and he say, in no other academy you're gonna get this. And he's just like such a cool guy. And basically,
awesome.
the class, it was like really fun, but really technical. Like, the kids are getting like super good training. And also, like, Tererê, well, he took us everyone for a roll. So he destroyed us, and we were happy to see him work. And he's like legit like a magician.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the people, like people that didn't watch or haven't watched like old school jiu-jitsu, like don't realize how technical Tererê was, and like how ahead of his time he was.
Yes.
Like especially when like not only his guard, but the way he was passing guard is like no one was doing like half the stuff he was doing back then. And then like from Tererê, we like we got guys like Lucas and like with Lepre and Andre Galvao.
Exactly.
So like it's super technical jiu-jitsu. So if you're listening to this podcast, you never heard the name Tererê before, like go on YouTube and like treat yourself, because
For sure.
that is really good jiu-jitsu. And like he was like very entertaining too.
Yes. He's such a cool and basically he rolls the same way like he is. Like he's just chill.
Personality.
Yeah. He's just like dancing with you and playing with you, and all of a sudden he jumps and he crosses to the other side. Really playful, but like a knife.
Yeah. So how do you like I know Fernando is probably the link here. How did Danaher find you guys, and how was it when, and like what was the attitude in the island when like you had like all these world class jiu-jitsu guys who suddenly showed up?
Yeah. Well, basically what happened is that Fernando, like you said, was the first person to make contact. Like Mo Jassim, contact Fernando. And basically Mo, he lives in Puerto Rico. So he needed to know who's the jiu-jitsu guy who could help him out with bringing these guys to the island. Because at first, they weren't gonna move. The first time we met Mo, we were gonna help him to do what he called the Modolfo camps, in which he brought like the top no-gi guys, ADCC veterans from all different teams, and he brought them to. So one of them was in Puerto Rico. He brought them to Puerto Rico. They got a training for a week, and then they leave. So basically, Mo needed some people to help him with that. And if I'm not mistaken, somebody gave Mo Fernando's phone number. Mo contacted Fernando, and from there on, we started like helping Mo bring the guys in. So the first thing he needed was like a training spot. So we talked with Juan from Combat 360. He told us that they can come and use the facilities, and we told Mo, and then Mo brought in the first Modolfo camp. He brought in like Craig Jones, Edwin Nashmi, Braulio Estima, Oliver Taza, Ethan Clariston, and I'm not sure if Edwin Nashmi. I'm not sure if I'm missing anybody else, but those were like the first guy who came into the island. And from there on, like we became friends with Mo. Like Mo needed something from jiu-jitsu or something from Puerto Rico, and he contacted Fernando. And all of a sudden, one day, Mo comes in and tells us, dudes, please don't tell anybody, but the guys are moving to Puerto Rico, like Gordon and John and all the crew. And we're like, what? Like we like we didn't understand. And he was saying like, yeah, they want to come in. We're going to build a school in Puerto Rico, and we're going to make this happen. And I need your help. So basically we said, well, we can help for sure. Well, the rest is history. The guys came in and they needed help to train. They needed like a space to train and all that stuff. So we took them to Combat 360. We tried to help out with the facilities to build the school. But in the end, it didn't work out. So we basically stayed here for a year, and now they just left to Austin. But during that,
Now everybody's out, right?
Yeah,
Everybody
yeah,
has left.
everybody left. But basically, what people need to understand here is that nothing was under our control. Like some
Yeah.
people ask us, "Oh, like, can I come train in with them?" And I'm like, dude, we have to ask Mo or John or Gordon. It's not in my hands. Like, basically, the room was packed, and they had us there just to help out. We didn't have more space. We didn't have like any say over that, you know. Like, we were just training,
Yeah.
but it was really good, man. I got the opportunity to train with the guys for almost a year, every day, and the experience.
And then what was the schedule?
Well, the schedule basically was like every day. Class started like at 12, and maybe it was like about 2 hours, and then they spent like another hour just on the mat, just chilling, laying around. But it's curious that during that hour, there's a lot of discussion. Like, sometimes we used to train, like, we finish the class, and then we used to all gather like in a circle, just chilling and talking. And in that moment, everyone, like, if you have a question, you go to ask John or Gordon or Gary or any of the top guys, and they discuss it basically. So if one of the guys is having trouble having with someone in half guard, they ask John or Gordon, and they start discussing it, in which is nothing that had to do with the class. It's like something that was brought up after class. And then all of a sudden, we're like, okay, let's get your partner, and we start drilling again. That move, like, it's really what I felt. It was like going to college. It's like going to like jiu-jitsu college. Like, everyone that's there, yeah, like everyone is in that class, like, they want to be good, you know. Like, it's you joke around, but everyone's joking around, but talking jiu-jitsu, people writing, people drilling some stuff after class. It was really, I enjoyed it a lot. It's really good.
That's cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also, like, the it's like a different kind of system. Like, there's no warm-ups per se. Like, you don't do like the rolls, the backward
It's not your traditional,
yeah,
not your traditional class structure.
no. It's all business. Like, the warm-up was like, we started wrestling. Was like probably half an hour of good strong wrestling. Like, you were like tired, and then we switched to the floor, and then on the rolls, they are not like regular rolls. Like, no, nothing like slap and bump, and we just start. No. It's specific training. Like, first round we do mount, and then we change different positions. And it's kind of weird because, like, at first, when the first few months, like, you feel like you are not clicking. Like, every one of the veteran guys, like, they started the positional rounds, like, everybody, like, they have their own strategies, their own system, and you're like, for the first time getting in that deep water, like, what am I supposed to do? Like, sometimes you feel like a white belt, and then all of a sudden you start, like, it starts building up the knowledge, like a snowball. And all of a sudden, like, you're just clicking with them, you're moving with the team, you understand what the different coaching they're giving you, like, where to move, what to do. Like, I confirmed this when I saw, like, a few days ago, a flow grappling clip about Gordon. They are asking him, like, how many guys you have for training here in Austin? Like, and he's telling now the team is moving here, everybody's gonna get here. And then he mentions like the Puerto Ricans are on their way. And he says, so I'm going to have like 15 guys who know what John is doing and know the system. So then I confirmed, like, of course, like I noticed it. Like, you got to like know what they're doing so you can flow with them. It's not only.
Yeah, like so they can do A, B, and C. You need to be able to know what A is,
Exactly.
and how they're gonna get from to B and C.
Especially in the leg lock game. Like it was really good because when they first came in, like all they teach us was the leg locks. So we got like probably like 2 months or maybe a bit more, 2 or 3 months every day of just the leg lock system. And at first it was like, what the hell is this? Like I didn't understand it. But then, like as the time goes on, like now you get it, you understand, you know where to go, what to do, and you can feel that you are a much better training partner for the guys. Like you're doing actually the reactions they need you to do. And basically that was my whole strategy while they were here. I wanted to become like the best training partner I could, because I knew if I was a good enough training partner for them, it would mean that my level had reached certain level. So I didn't say I'm not gonna beat these guys. I'm not gonna compete with them because clearly they are way ahead of me. But I'm gonna go step by step till I reach that level. So first step, I'm gonna be like the best training partner I can be. And it was funny because I used to laugh because when John was teaching and he was teaching a technique, and he always says like, if your opponent is a retard, he would stay like this. And I'm like, on the back of my head, wow, well, I'm a retard. Like I used to do that. And if your opponent is world championship level, he's gonna do this. And then I'm like, oh, I need to do that. So basically, I was learning like the technique, and I was learning what a good opponent would do.
Yeah, good reaction out of it.
Yes.
No, that's super interesting. Uh, I mean, you guys at least, I think like Eduardo and Carlos and all you guys were like pretty leg lock aware at least. Like you guys train both gi and no gi. And I think you guys were probably ahead of the curve
Yes.
than most regular people when it came to leg locks. But like these guys were like miles ahead of everybody.
For sure.
And like you said, the problem too is a lot of times. I mean, it's gotten a lot better now. Like all the DVDs are out, and like Ryan Hall's putting stuff out, and Lackline's putting stuff out. Like people are so much more aware of what leg locks look like, what the positions are, and then like how to hide your heel, how to dig a heel. Because for a long time you would like get to a leg lock position and people would tap. It's like, oh, you got me. It's like, no, man. There's like so many things that still need to happen. Like I gotta keep your knee line. I gotta dig the heel. Like you're not gonna get a bite. So a lot of guys were trying to become good at leg locks, but they had a hard time because the people in their gym didn't know what's up. So it's like that, like you said, like you don't have a good training partner and you're not getting those reactions. Is really hard to improve on like certain areas, especially when you're trying to build a game out of reactions. And like like you said, like a lot of these guys like are really like are making a system out of every single position. They're like I think that's where jiu-jitsu is going now. Is like more and more, which was a problem for a long time. People always teach moves in a vacuum. It's like, all right, here's a scissor sweep, and let's do a single leg escape, and let's do and it was nothing was ever connected, and it was just up to you to like build a jiu-jitsu game out of like this like random moves that were like shown at you. now, like Danaher, even like Eddie Bravo and the whole 10 planet system is like him putting his moves and making flows and like putting stuff together has really changed the way people look at jiu-jitsu and teach jiu-jitsu. What was the biggest difference? What was the biggest hole in your game you felt like when you started training with these guys? Was it the leg locks, or was it like
The leg locks, man. The leg locks. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, it was really tough because I thought I knew. Because I had the DVDs, I was training, I was drilling leg locks with Fernando, and I was getting some of the guys at the open mats, some of the higher level guys in Puerto Rico. I was hitting it on them, and I'm like, yes. But dude, when these guys come in, they're just ripping my legs apart. Like, I can tell you this, Nelson. Like, I was like, tap, tap. You will always hear that on the gym. Tap, 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 tap. But in the end, I was like, oh my God. Looking back on it, I was always screaming, tap, 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 tap. And now I'm getting out of them. They're not finishing me with leg locks.
Mm-hmm.
So in the end, or maybe at least I used to make them work so hard for them. Like, sometimes I did like, damn, that was like, I know, like, I did my best, like it was a good role, but they caught me. That's good. But it was really tough, the leg lock game. And then it switched because I started avoiding the leg locks and they're just ripping my back apart. Like,
I think that's one thing that like the level has really gone up. I think big part of it is when like all these guys were get ready for like EBI.
Yes.
And like you needed to work on those backscapes and like working on your back control. I've been doing a lot of cross training with the local 10 Planet guys, like 10 Planet Bethlehem, 10 Planet Allentown, and like I'm decent black belt, and like usually if I get to somebody's back, I was able to submit it before, but now these kids are putting so many hours on like they do like the EVI overtime rounds, and like so much time, both like taking the back and with somebody on their back. Like I go there and like I have hard time submitting the blue belts for the back, and I'm like, come on, man.
What's
like,
happening?
I got to just let me have this. And I was rolling one of the, I think he's 16, this kid Sid, and I was rolling with him, like we're going back and forth, like nice and easy roll, like he's 16, I'm not trying to crush the kid. And he got to my back, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna work out of this. And he snuck an arm across and got underneath and like slapped a rear naked choke on, and I was like, all right. I'm trying to get out, and I'm like, this is getting really tight.
Nelson.
And like these kids are so good at it because they're putting like such a big emphasis on it. And like you said, like everything, they like every reaction now, like they have like their little, these guys have the little system down, and like every reaction they know. It's like if he puts his hand here, like you repummel here, you switch to the other hand, and like then you trap with the leg, and like that wasn't there before when I was coming out.
Yes, exactly. And did you see like the last tournament? I forgot which
was it, like the WNL
exactly
number one championship?
Like, did you see like Mika, the Ruotolos, like Cole Abad, like they are all kids. They are all teens. Like they are monsters. Like
yeah, I mean the other thing too is that the like people are specializing in no-gi more and more. So also I recognize like my no-gi game is playing catch up because I spend 6-8 years doing no-gi maybe once a week, and then doing gi 6-8 times a week.
Yes.
And so like and then like I would get to the back and get a bow and arrow choke, like get a cradle choke or get a cross, like get a collar, like everything involves that collar. So like now, like when you take that away, you're like, oh,
exactly.
It's not there anymore. Like the whole camp fighting thing is different. So yeah, like these kids are just
crazy good
there. And then the other thing too is like with Cole Battle, it was like very apparent too. Is his leg lock awareness, like his awareness where his knee line is so amazing, because that's I think that's one of the hardest things to get good at, is like, clearing the knee line or regaining the knee line when you lose it, and like if you're on the attack. And like these kids have been doing nogi for so long, they're just like second nature to them.
Of course, they're one of the most difficult things from the leg lock game is what you said, like being aware and staying calm. And like what John teaches us is like you gotta be like learn to fight inside the pocket, like the boxers. Like with the leg lock, you have to get that confidence to go in and slip that heel, getting a little bit deeper to protect that knee, get it out. Like it's once you get that awareness, it's so much easier. Like you start noticing, it's like it's the same with the regular jiu-jitsu. Like you the only thing is
it's like when you're teaching a white belt and like they keep putting one arm in and getting triangle all the time. It's like you have to notice
something
when I'm pulling one arm in and one arm out. It's the same, or like like if your elbows are out of position, you're gonna get arm bar.
Exactly.
It's gonna be the same thing. It's like what is your knee doing, and like it's like, are you clear? Like are you clear on the knee line? Because if you're not, it's gonna be a problem pretty soon.
Exactly.
Very cool. So you're moving to Austin soon?
Yes, that's the plan. I'm working on that. But basically, I don't want to rush anything. I've been talking with the guys, and I'm like the training's gonna be there. So
yeah,
I'm just making everything good before I leave. Set up everything before I get there. Once I get there, establish myself, chill, and then get on with that routine. Hopefully.
Very cool. And then is this gonna be the first time you'll live outside of Puerto Rico?
Yes.
Oh wow, that's a big change.
A big change, yes, man. But I mean, like the opportunity was there. Like Gordon and John and most of the guys, like they actually like asked us to come with them to train. They left us like that open invitation. Like we would like you to. They said like we would like you to bring us. Like they would like to take us with them, but like they can't financially like pay for us. Like we have to do it for ourselves. But we're gonna do it. So I'm just packing, and hopefully I'll be there before the end of the year.
That's very cool.
Yes.
You have to work on your Mexican Spanish.
I'm I'm still working on my English, as you can see, but
your English is great, man.
But yeah, I can. I when I went to Texas, a lot of people were talking Spanish. Like it was quite normal.
Yeah. No, yeah, you can definitely be in Texas without speaking English. For you can get through a day, no problem. Well, man, this has been great. Thank you for your time, and if you're in Texas the end of the year, I'm sure you'll be there before I get there again. So you have to find a good taco spots for me.
Yes, for sure, Nelson. You're more than welcome. And hopefully you visit, man. I'm looking forward.
Yeah, no, definitely. I usually we go to Houston pretty often, so Austin is not too far. So we'll go visit for sure. See you.
If you visit Texas without visiting us, you're gonna be in trouble, man.
Oh yeah, no. We'll find Fernando Quesito and people like that to make it feel like he's back home.
Thanks.
It'll be great.
And also, I'm looking forward visiting your academy.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, you guys will have to take the trip up. We should be up and running by December. Sure. Once you guys are stateside, we'll talk.
For sure.
One of the things we're trying to do is we're gonna have Fighter House. So we'll we'll have a like lodging for you guys if you guys want to come up and visit, stay like a week or a month, whatever. We'll
good.
have a place for you guys to stay.
I'm gonna bring my pajamas, but maybe we can do some no-gi workshop.
There we go. So yeah, like the academy is gonna be mostly gi, but we definitely have some no-gi for you, and there's always open.
Yeah, that's good. That's good enough.
All right, amigo. Thank you.
Gracias, Nelson.
Thank you for listening, Panda Nation. We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Inverted Gear podcast. You can find us at invertedgear.com as well as your favorite podcast app. Don't forget to give us a like, and we'll see you soon.